is number 9 Oregon demolishing Oregon State in the Civil War, 49-14 in this game. Let's go over the 5 highest graded Ducks in this game. Number 1, Dillon Gabriel was fantastic with a 93.6 grade. Jordan James at a 78.7. Derek Harmon at a 78.4. Nishad Strother at a 77.4. And Bryce Betcher at a 77 in this game. Let's go over to the Oregon State Beavers in this game. The highest grade player was Gerard Christian Lichtenhahn at a 71.9. Anthony Hankerson at a 71.2. Zakiah Saez at a 69.1. Kobe Singleton at a 65.9. And Tastian Reddix at a 65.5 in this game. Dalton, for you, what was the stat that really told the story in this game?
So Oregon's 2 weeks of struggle, I've been on this. It has not been a Dillon Gabriel issue. They've had all sorts of issues around them, but Max, other than Dillon Gabriel's really good and Oregon's really good, why did we like the fact that Dillon Gabriel went to Oregon?
Was it the offensive fit? Just the play action and all that. Yeah,
it's all of that. And Gabriel was one of the highest percentage of play action. Like play action rate was in the top 10 somewhere last year at Oklahoma. Mm-hmm. Right through their first 2 games, they had run play action Oregon in less than 31% of their pass plays. Which is, you're talking about getting into a below average number there for Gabriel when he's known as one of the best play action passers in the country. Well, this game they went right back. They went back to it finally. 53.3% of their pass plays were play action in this game. That includes a couple reps from Dante Moore at the end of the game too. But you get the idea. For Gabriel, it was like 51. That's more in line with where he was at Oklahoma, right? And I think Gabriel, I mean, he's really good. He was really good the last 2 weeks anyway. But I think that ability to go to the play action and go to the RPO game and allow him to, it seemed like he was moving around a little bit more in this game too.
Yeah, it did. Yeah.
Taking off running a little, and even a couple of design boots. It seemed like they were just using Gabriel.
Like a 70-yard rushing touchdown.
Yeah. So he's definitely moving around a little more than the first. But it didn't feel like the bootlegs and even some of this RPO stuff and some of the rolling stuff wasn't. It felt like it wasn't in the first 2 weeks where they were just dropping back and just trying to just go with the standard game, and that's not always what Gabriel is. He's one of the best play-action passers in the country, and that's why we love the fit so much. I like the increased usage here. Not at all that Gabriel was playing bad in the first 2 games. He wasn't. He was spectacular anyway, despite all the other difficulties. But I think what it does more so is it opens up these shots downfield. This was a game where you felt more like they could consistently get downfield as opposed to, what was it, the first game he had a 4-yard average depth of target? You just can't. They're not designed like that. They have a young offensive line, especially on the interior. They don't want to drop back and pass protect. So help them out too, as well as helping Gabriel and the receivers. And you saw a little more verticality in their offense. And I think they realized, they're like, oh, wait, Gabriel, he can run too. Right? Obviously, we saw it with the rushing touchdown, but I think also the threat with some RPOs, sliding and things like that, some naked boots to help out both the O-line and him. I think it was just a much better schemed-up game. And Gabriel doubles as my most impressive because through all of it, it's just been fantastic. I mean, how could I go with anyone other than the guy who graded a 93.6, one of the best marks of the week? But this is what he can do when everything's schemed right for him. I mean, he graded around a 90 each of the last 2 weeks when it wasn't, but he's their best player. He's their best asset. And now in this game, he showed why he's a Heisman Trophy contender. The only other guy I want to shout out there, too, is Derek Harmon. Real quick. He's been spectacular, transfer from Michigan State. Right now, they got the second best pass rush grade in the country among defensive tackles. He has 16 pressures through 3 games. No other D tackle has more than 11. Wow. He is like the guy right now. We were questioning because you had been mentioning Oregon has a lot of depth on their D-line, but who's the guy? I'm pretty sure Derek Harmon is the guy for them.
That's impressive because I also said that the pass rushers for Oregon was my biggest question mark entering the year because the D-line is so massive. Like even the edge defenders, Dalton, are like 280 pounds. So I was like, at run D, they're going to be great. But at pass rushing, how's it going to look? Derek Harmon, the D tackle, the transfer, he's been outstanding as pass rusher. Great call out by you. My side that tells the story in this game, Oregon averaged 9.1 yards per play in this game. This is the Oregon offense that we expected coming into the year. 546 total yards of offense in this game. And Dalton, EPA per play of .697. Not only, that's the first time it's been positive all year. So that's great. That's the best Oregon's had in the PFF era dating back to 2014. And we've seen some elite Oregon offenses, like the one even last year, led by Bo Nix. When I was looking up, like, when's the last time it was higher, I was like, oh, last year they probably had a game. It was outrageous. No, this is the highest they've had in at least a decade, which is outrageous for this Oregon offense. Dillon Gabriel, you mentioned him being your most impressive. He was on fire in this game. 7 of the 11 offensive players who played 25 snaps earned at least a 70 grade in this game. Oregon's offense, this is why we came into the year saying, hey, they can win a national championship because they have this offense. This is the offense we were talking about. Not the one against Idaho, not the one against Boise State. It was this offense, and I'll just roll into my most impressive. The offensive line finally stepped up in this game. 89.6 pass blocking grade. The first 2 weeks, they had a 66 pass blocking grade. And they only allowed 2 pressures all game on 30 pass blocking snaps, 6.7% pressure rate allowed. The first 2 weeks, it was 22.2%. So you're talking about an O-line that was so good in this game after being really the worst part of the entire team in the first 2 weeks of the season. And it was actually their lowest pressure rate allowed since week 3 against Hawaii last year. So when your O-line is playing like this, you give Dillon Gabriel time back there to find guys downfield. This is what allows Gabriel and those weapons to kill defenses. And you saw it in this game with 546 yards of total, 546 yards of total offense, 9 yards per play, the best EPA per play in at least a decade. If that O-line blocks like that, Oregon could be doing this week in and week out, honestly.
Absolutely, and that's what it's about, is stacking them, right? And this could have been a dangerous game coming off a tough win last week, tough first couple of weeks, and you've got a rival, even though it's not in conference and all that anymore. You still have a rival. You're going on the road. It's always game with Oregon State, right? We always see it's always competitive, but they made it non-competitive. And you just... if you have this offense rolling like this, like you mentioned, this is what we expected. Absolutely. With Dillon Gabriel coming in there, and I think I really like too what Trayshawn Holden is starting to bring him to. Just one more. I've kind of been asking, like, who's that one other guy? Tej Johnson can't carry him all the time, and Evan Stewart made a couple big plays last week, and he was a little quieter this week. But I like what they're getting out of Trayshawn Holden right now. And Jordan James had a great game as well. If they have balance too, balance with the play action, with the deeper shots, with everything like that, this is everything we expected the Ducks to be.
Yeah, again, that's why we thought they could be a national title contenders. This offense, in our opinion, ending the year was the best in the country, and they proved why in that game against Oregon State. So we'll see if it continues the rest of the year, but that was a really good, like, exhale game for Oregon. You know, the fans, I'm sure, in Eugene right now, like, okay, maybe we are really good. Like, maybe the first 2 weeks, maybe we're just, okay, we just got to settle in a little bit. So now I think a lot of Oregon fans, a lot of Oregon players and coaches probably like, okay, we're okay now. Let's go into Big Ten play, and we'll feel a lot better about the rest of the season. So great bounce back game for Oregon after a eye-opening first 2 weeks of the season, to put it lightly.